Mr. Rickett Hagan, he also refers us to a, some very bad situation, and I read because of the controversies that came around it. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading page 19. Page 19, I just lost it. Let me go back to that quickly. Page 19, he says, page 19, the very last paragraph. He says, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it would also interest you to know that Ghana has recently been sanctioned by the African Development Bank, AfDB, for non-payment of debt obligations due. This sanction means that signature of new AfDB loan agreements, disbursements on all AfDB ongoing projects, and the granting of any new loans have been suspended until the situation is rectified. The sanctions were effective in January 2015. In this regard, Ghana regrettably joins an exclusive list, hear them, of nations currently under AfDB sanctions. The other countries are Somalia, Sudan, Zimbabwe, Djibouti. And this is where people were like, Jesus Christ, why? How did we get to join Zimbabwe in, very bad inability to pay our debts? We know of the stories that have come up as far as this is concerned. Should that really take our attention as it has done within the media?
Well, the stories that have come out basically suggest that what Dr. Baumia said was not actually true. You see, I have a problem, and I can take you page by page on what Dr. Baumia has submitted in his presentation here, and I can show you the errors, the wrong assumptions that he's made in a lot of things. Now, first of all, let's look at, before I come to, he's talking about our debt.
Why don't you deal with my question?
All right, I'll deal with your question.
Right.
And then I'll come to, because this is very serious, and it's misleading. And the problem we have, as I said earlier, is that when economics and finance are technical areas, when you have people who know the subject, try to put out things that will mislead people, that is really dangerous. Now, the story turned out not to be true, because I respect Dr. Baumia a lot. He's an eminent economist, but on this occasion he acted like an irresponsible journalist. Who is,
what? Why could you say irresponsible? What?
Journalist.
Why get acknowledged? So we journalists are basically irresponsible
economists.
I think that is clear.
I will explain it to you.
His meaning is clear.
There are responsible journalists. I will explain myself.
His meaning is clear.
Because there are responsible journalists and irresponsible journalists. I will tell you what a responsible journalist is. A responsible journalist is someone who gets an information, a journalist who gets an information, and he's basically trigger happy. He's ready to go and put the information out there without actually checking his fact. Dr. Baumia, an eminent economist, if he had intercepted any information, memo or whatever from the African Development Bank, the first thing I expect an eminent economist like him to do is to check first with the African Development Bank. To say, look, I've intercepted this information, is this true or not? Let somebody come and say, no comment. You could go to the Ministry of Finance and check. I have intercepted and you haven't paid your bills.
You are suggesting that he should have doubted what was an official correspondence or an official documentation of the bank
that is
labeling Ghana as one of those.
A research economist that he is, an economist that I am, that is what I will do. I will not just take the information and go and put it out there, because it has a serious implication. It affects investor confidence, it affects the market, and somebody like him
that's government's major concern.
Yes, somebody like him ought to know better. And that is why I'm saying that irresponsible journalists will intercept that information and go and publish it, either to sell newspapers or to be able to make himself popular. And that is exactly what Dr. Baumia did. Somebody like him who ought to know better. He's talking about information that he received on the 17th. If he had gone and checked on the website on the 18th, before he did his presentation, he would have realized that even if that happened, it has been corrected. I'm not saying that, that memo did not happen. What I'm saying is that what Dr. Baumia has put out there in his lecture is irresponsible journalism. Nothing near a researcher or eminent economist that I know that he is. And somebody like him ought to know better, because these things create problems for this country. We are always talking our country down just for cheap politics. And somebody like him ought to know better. Now let me tell you show you something that Dr. Bamia has done.
We should deal with that matter.
We'll deal with that before we deal with other issues.
Take us away.
Why don't you just let it flow? When it's just your turn, you can correct it.
What he's saying.
I will return to you. Then you can list what you say are inaccuracies and errors more errors that Baumia made.
Wrong analysis.
Yes, but yes.
Look,
to the point of the AfDB.
He as a government and as a member of government, and if a government should apologize to the people of Ghana, not to other areas. And I'll tell you, can I finish? You should be apologizing to the people of Ghana that AfDB, the African Development Bank, would actually write an internal memo to their directors and say that Ghana has been on the sanction list for 1.5 months. Maybe you didn't read the memo well, but go and have a look at the memo. I am saying that African Development Bank in the internal memo says that Ghana has been, because they wrote it on the 7th, and say Ghana has been on the sanction list for 1.5 months because of debt obligations, inability for Ghana to pay. It is for you who were in government to have told the African Development Bank at that time, if you were accurate with your information, that look, what you have put out there is wrong. If Dr. Baumia had not done it, trust me, none of us would have ever known that African Development Bank has actually told its director that Ghana has been on their sanction list for 1.5 months. The memo did not say that Ghana has been there only on the 17th. They said since January, 1st January, Ghana has been on their sanction list. And they listed these countries. The question I want to find out is it true that by the 31st of December, you were owing them or not? You did not make due our obligations, or you did. You don't pay what was due them. If you did pay, why did they write that memo? It's not about Dr. Baumia, it's about them. In any case, when Dr. Baumia got it, do you know the number of eminent people around Africa and the world who may have also gotten this internal memo? Dr. Baumia did not. I asked him. He did not seek to release the internal memo. It's your response. And the African Development Bank response that forced the hand of Dr. Baumia to release the internal memo because it then became the credibility problem of Dr. Baumia on one hand and the bank on the other. And I'm shocked that the bank will say, well, it was an erroneous mistake made on the 17th and the following day we corrected it. Why? Did anybody force the bank to state that since January 1st, Ghana has been on the sanction list? You should be writing, you should be writing to the bank to demand
something.
Excuse me, if it is not true, if what they stated in the internal memo is not true, you should be writing to the bank to demand an apology and a retraction to the people
they had
of Ghana.
already retracted, according to the bank's own statement.
To where's the evidence?
That's what they put out there. They had already retracted.
Where is the evidence? Evidence to us. Where is the evidence to the people of Ghana?
Challenging the African Development Bank.
So,
That they are conniving with government.
Mr. Egan,
this is serious.
Mr. Egan, see, if the bank says that they discovered an error they made, and that they corrected it, then they made an error.
Of course.
Yeah, that is the point where he's saying. That's the point where he's saying. Okay.
So the point I'm making.
Can we have one moderator, please?
So the point I am making is very clear. If the African Development Bank is telling the whole world, and Ghana in particular, that well, that internal memo that was written saying that you have been on our sanction list for 1.5 months was an error, did they write to inform us?
There are those who don't believe that.
Did they write to inform us?
There are those who don't believe what the African Development Bank is saying.
I don't
belong to that group.
Excuse me, I don't
I'll
believe.
I'll come to you.
I am very clear in my mind that the African Development Bank needs to explain more than they are saying to the people of Ghana. And government needs to come out more clearly. I'm asking government to state clearly to the people of Ghana whether what the African Development Bank said that they owe them, is it true or not? Just tell us. Is it true you were owing them by 31st, and for that matter, you could be sanctioned? Because the laws are very clear. If you owe them, you're supposed to be sanctioned. Did you owe them or you didn't owe them? So for you to say that it was an error, it means that Ghana didn't owe them. But I'm saying that Ghana owed them. That's why they put it there. Because there are just 5 countries. There are not 100 countries where you can say it's an error. And Ghana was number 1.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
I am saying
you're saying that Ghana indeed owed.
Yes. Ghana indeed owed them. And the government
and the bank has come out to tell you that that was an error.
What the bank is saying, what the bank is saying
if we owe you and you say we don't owe you,
the bank
shouldn't we
listen,
why
no, can I finish? The bank is not saying Ghana has actually made due all its obligations. That's what the bank is saying.
That at the time when it did the publication, it had made an error.
I'm saying that the bank did not say that at the time that they referred, within the 1.5 months, Ghana did not have obligational issues to them. What they just said is that as we stand today, the governor of the bank, the government of Ghana doesn't owe them.
That's a very
Do you owe them or not? The government did not owe the African Development Bank as of the time that they were compiling that their list. Second, let Dr. Baumia and his supporters in the NPP
That's such a monumental mistake by the bank.
Listen to me, Samson.
You didn't owe them.
Let Dr. Baumia and his supporters in the NPP admit that he goofed and goofed badly. It is not for the African Development Bank to come and release an internal memo to Dr. Baumia to say that we had met our obligation, that they had made an error. If you got information, it was incumbent upon you to check it. That is what you do routinely as journalists.
Do you ignore where Dr. Baumia stands as far as that bank is concerned?
But that is precisely why he should not have done what he did, because he has
no, when you're asking
listen, absolutely.
He should check.
He stands
when he stands in a position where he's been a member before.
I'm saying that, but being a member does not endow you with invincibility on a subject like this.
It gives you the opportunity to know what to trust.
No, it gives you the opportunity to have contacts to verify information that you have.
But if he had done so, but he did check.
If he did so, he
told me.
Okay, Little, I stopped him from interfering.
When Dr. Baumia got that information, I don't know when he got it, but at least the date of the memo, 17th February, suggests that he had 6 weeks in between the time he got that information and the time he delivered this lecture to have cross-checked. As a government of Ghana, we have been in good standing at all material times. We are not owed the African Development Bank. They have not communicated to us.
Would you also require that the African Development Bank apologize after the retraction?
There's nothing to apologize for. We do not owe them. When this matter got to our attention, we indicated to them that no, we do not owe you. So they checked their records and corrected the error that they had made. The matter ended there. They have not sent us any official notification.
So that it is only Baumia you feel ought to apologize.
Because he sought to mislead the public about our debt position.
Right.
And use this as proof positive that we have not able to service our debt. What he failed to realize what do you say? That this correction had been effective.
What do you say to this debate that Dr. Baumia had all the time since February 17 or 18th, and when he delivered the lecture Tuesday, to have checked again?
Well, that's a good question. It's legitimate, and it could be asked of Dr. Baumia, and I'm sure he has to address that question as to at the material moment that he was delivering the lecture and making that particular claim, whether Ghana indeed was on sanctions or not. It's a legitimate inquiry, and I'm not going to be opposed to that. But we should deal with this issue properly and then see where perhaps Baumia came from. My brother, what did Baumia say? Let's read it carefully. It says, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it would interest you to know that Ghana has recently been sanctioned by the African Development Bank for non-payment of debt obligations due. This sanction means that signature of new AfDB loan agreements, disbursements on all AfDB ongoing projects, and the granting of new loans have been suspended until the situation is rectified. The sanctions were effective January 2015. Then AfDB comes out, and this is what they said. They said, our attention has been drawn to a press release, a press report, that Ghana is under sanctions with the African Development Bank. We wish to state that Ghana is current on all its obligations with the AfDB. I keep on making that mistake. Accordingly, Ghana is not on the list of countries under sanctions by AfDB. On 18th February 2015, due to an administrative oversight, Ghana was erroneously included in the list of countries under sanctions by the AfDB. However, the error was detected the same day and corrected list was immediately issued in replacement. Add to this too, what the Ghana government also said, that at no time were we on the sanctions list because no notice had been served to Ghana government that we were on that list. At least I was with Felix Thursday, and that was the official line. I've subsequently heard Ghanaian government spokesperson saying same. Now, I made a point on Thursday on Metro TV, Good Morning Ghana, that the AfDB's response is economical with the truth and the details. And as for government, I've since found out that I think I have to be charitable. Government peddled an obvious untruth when it said that it had no knowledge and had never been served notice. That was an obvious untruth. Maybe my friend here didn't know. I have to excuse him on that. But we are talking of a government machinery.
Kweku Baako.
This is African Development Bank letter. It's dated February 18, 2015. It is addressed to Samuel D. Ameyao, Director, Debt Management Division, Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. Titled, subject, Application of Sanctions, Arrears on Bills due on 1st January 2015. We wish to inform you that as of today, we have not received full payment in respect of bank group bills as per the attached annual arrears report. These are the arrears reports, plenty. Therefore, and in accordance with the bank group policy on loans arrears recovery, we wish to inform you that sanctions have been imposed on 1st February 2015. We count on your prompt action for the timely settlement of the amounts due to enable the lifting of sanctions. Sincerely, signed, Jocelyn Ahuni, I'm sure I've pronounced it wrongly, Divisions Manager, African Development Bank. And they have attached the arrears report, very long one. Now, so one, government could not have been truthful when they told us that they had not been served any notice at all. No, I'm forgiving him. He might not have known. I know government machinery. Yes, that's exactly the point I'm making. So I'm not personalizing this thing. I'm talking of government as a corporate entity, and the issue as the way they took it as a very serious omission on the part of Dr. Baumia, and so had to be lynched verbally by some of their communicators. This is evidence that government was aware of this whole saga. That's the point. Two, the African Development Bank statement was so economical, and I've been charitable, because you see, so scanty, it failed to address this issue. It just claimed that, oh, a press report. In any case, it was on the 18th that we did the error. The same day we corrected it. This cannot be, based on the evidence I've read here.
Because
so
what you read, this is a letter that's dated the first, or is it?
No, 18. 18. But but they are telling us that
when it was
1st February is when they detected. No, 1st February was when we were sanctioned.
Okay. But you say that the sanction was on the 2nd January.
Sorry.
No, that was a mistake. Let me explain. I made that error on Joy FM, on Metro, because if you look at the memo, you see, it's the American style of dating. If you look at the hand,
I get that.
you see,
right.
So in actual fact, they meant 1st February 2015. That's Ghana. You see, but I said 2nd January because I turned it around. That is also an error that I committed.
But you are saying the letter was addressed to
Ghana.
That is
So they wrote to us.
Yes, they did. So that's the point I have established. That first, government cannot claim it had no notice because this is enough evidence. Two, the bank itself, in addressing the issue in this scanty manner they did, were deliberately being economical and for that matter, suffered some credibility deficit.
They have
But
told you
he's read
that
a
on the-
letter.
No, but they have told you that
sorry.
on the same
He's
day that
read a
they
letter.
published
No, he's read a letter that
Yes.
says that the sanctions had come into effect
on the 8th, on the 1st of February.
On the 1st.
Yes.
Yes, they were drawing our attention on the 18th of February.
So
on the same
so
day
they
that
should be
they
saying
have been- no.
they should be saying correctly that Ghana had been under sanctions
Sanctions.
for this period.
Yes,
No,
and
no,
the memo
no.
itself
But that
says
sanction
so.
was- that sanction-
Let's read the memo. The memo says
sanction was
countries,
erroneous.
Okay, let him finish.
countries
the
where
memo.
signature of new loan agreements, disbursements on all bank group ongoing projects, and the granting of new loans have been suspended for arrears over 1 month are as follows. So in actual fact, according to them, this memo as well as this letter, it was clear in their records that we were in arrears over 1 month.
Yeah, but
Look, that cannot be reduced to an administrative oversight by a bank of that stature. That's a lie.
Hold on.
The bank was lying. Why the bank was lying, I don't understand. Because it was unnecessary.
Felix, hold on.
No, see, let me finish. It was unnecessary. As I said,
Why would the
look,
African government
no,
lie?
no, listen,
wait.
but they wrote to you. See,
wait.
okay, I withdraw.
listen to me.
They were
Why would
being
they lie? I don't-
economical.
They were
No,
lying.
why would they be economical?
Stick to the fact. They were
Because
lying.
the fact, you see,
Why?
a bank,
No, why would they lie? What would be the motivation?
I don't
to
know
lie?
why.
So I mean,
The
Because you
PR.
put pressure on them to lie.
The
How?
PR.
How
They
do you
lie.
put pressure on someone?
I
It's not possible.
am reliably aware
It's not possible.
that officials of that bank are listening to the show now. If you have anything to the contrary, because it is your integrity that is under questioning. I mean, in this very bad light, because the way the statement was put out, it sought to obscure the fact that Ghana had actually been under
something
sanctions
again-
from that
And you see, we have
that
to
long.
contest.
See, so my
if
bottom
you are
line,
listening,
can
we
I
have to
conclude?
and you want to
We have-
join
we have-
us,
we have to
please,
contest
No,
that.
can
you're
I
welcome.
conclude?
Call us.
Can I
We have to
conclude?
Yes,
No, let me
finish your
conclude.
point. Finish your point.
See, on Thursday, I made the point that I was only speculating in a certain direction. And speculation is allowed, especially if it's legitimate and credible. I'm beginning to move from the realm of speculation
To facts.
to the realm of certainty and exactitude. to believe that indeed the memo and this letter reflected a real situation of us having been in arrears. That mischief may have been cured subsequently through reconciliation and things. And as at the time that Baumia was making his speech, we may not have been on sanctions. That's my view.
Okay.
Something
Right.
again on this letter. Granted that the bank notified Ghana on the 18th of February that this was the position. Immediately, their attention was drawn to the fact that we have indeed fulfilled our obligations. They corrected it. They have indicated same in the press statement that they issued. So, on what basis would Baumia go and peddle that erroneous position as fact?
Okay.
6 weeks after this correction had been effected.
Okay.
So the basis upon which you are doubting the AfDB's press release.
Okay, I think
for me,
I'm
the
saying
position
elect.
the position you are canvassing now, you've already canvassed
Absolutely.
already.
So-
That as far as that one is concerned, you still stick to where you are.
Absolutely, yeah.
That
But I don't know why
he
you are-
ought to have checked before saying the date when you
Absolutely.
gave it.
Yes. You can't say that.
But again,
I have accused
That
Kweku
one is-
of
but
something.
the-
So you just
but
have
the
some-
bank
some-
was not fair
some
with
suggest to
facts.
you that some suggest to you that let's be fair to the interpretation of what he said. That we have recently been
He didn't even say we are the
sanctioned.
sanctions.
The way
Okay.
he presented
Look at
it,
it.
the way he presented it, now
read
read
his
even as he
language.
was speaking.
So
they
No,
have been sanctioned.
it's not true.
Oh, but that's what it comes to.
No, no,
He didn't,
no,
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 he didn't
no,
say that. Say
no,
maybe in February.
It's not true.
Felix,
It's
But that is
I think-
but that is
no,
not. That's
no.
the reading.
I think
So
that
the way he
would be
presented it.
your
He
own.
says that-
That
No,
would
The
be
way he
your own.
presented
Yeah,
it.
He says,
But,
Mr. Chairman,
let's
ladies
wait.
and gentlemen, it would also interest you to know that Ghana has recently been sanctioned. We take
No,
a break.
no,
we
but
take a
wait,
break.
I think we should
take
be
a
fair.
break.
No,
We'll
The
return-
way he presented it made it seem that we were currently under sanctions.
What's it about the statement again? Okay,
recently
has recently been sanctioned by the African Development Bank for non-payment of debt obligations due. These sanctions means that signature of new AfDB loan agreements, disbursements on all AfDB ongoing projects,
Continue.
and the granting of any new loans have been suspended
Continue.
until the
He didn't say
situation
half.
No,
until the situation
No.
is rectified.
So
I
you're
think
saying
that
the
is
situation has not been
where
rectified.
Half.
that is what is not
The
current.
operative word
We
is
take a
half.
break here.
So
We'll be right back.
Only on Thursday, Parliament considered
But the IMF will not tell you how to resolve Dumsor. It will not tell you not to sign a 10-year emergency power agreement to deal with a 2-year problem. We've signed a 10-year agreement to deal with a 2-year problem. It will also not tell you to wait for 3 years of doing so before looking for an emergency solution. The government's approach to the delivery of emergency power from Turkey does not reflect the seriousness of the power situation. As I speak today, my understanding is that the Turkish power barges had not left Turkey as at last week. And so the promise that they will be here to deliver power in April is not likely to be met. The IMF cannot do this for us. We have to do it ourselves.
Musa Abato Kumasi says Dr. Bawumia is a fine gentleman, astute economist, and his words sounded like fresh wine, full of sweetness, but lacking substance and gradually losing credibility. Nonetheless, AfDB has corrected the misleading impression created about our obligations to them. I hope the purveyor of that misleading claim does the honorable thing and apologizes to his audience. Atai Moro in Wellensi says that the Ghana Statistical Service said what they published was a transmission error. The AfDB also admitted committing an administrative error. How then could Dr. Bawumia solely be blamed for only confirming such figures? Dr. Bawumia, Ghana loves you. Emmanuel in Accra says, what has just happened has put a doubt on the credibility of Dr. Bawumia's research. Why should we believe anything he says if he cannot simply cross-check his facts before releasing them? Enyam Achu in Ho says, tell NDC government appointees and its commentators to accept Dr. Bawumia's expose in good faith. Dr. Bawumia told us just about a year ago that the way the government is running the economy, they will go for IMF for a bailout. Didn't the government do same? What are they talking about? They should give us a break. Simon in Wale Wale says, how could AfDB and GSS be committing such unpardonable errors? Were their errors administrative, transpositions, or you wanted to say clerical? You said electrical. Okay. Or you mean those could have affected how they transmitted those information to culminate in errors. Bediako Matthew in Fawode in Kumasi says, there is a new term in town and it is Bawumianomics. It is defined as the state of economic confusion a whole political party undergoes when economic diagnoses are made by the economic wizard, Wizkid Bawumia. Willops in Koforidua says, just to correct the deputy minority leader, if you get 12 hours of so and 24 hours of doom, you get 10 days of so in a month. In a month, not 7 days. Okay, these calculations these days. Well, some people don't get it at all. So you are lucky. You should thank God when you get some 12 hours of so.
10 days out
and Professor Stephen Adai has a new twist to the whole thing. Says if we are not careful, we'll get to a point of doom film. Yes, doom God film. Film. Kokra.